Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Herman Brothers Field here in beautiful Palmer, Alaska for tonight's matchup between your Chugiak Eagle River Chinooks and the hometown Mat-Su Miners. Let's take a few moments and go over both lineups and defenses tonight. For the visiting Chinooks, we have number 10, Will Batts, leading off. He'll be playing center field. John Mark Mullins, the shortstop, batting second. Hayden Keller, moving up to the 3 spot, will be playing left field. Pate Fullerton in the cleanup spot, playing third base. John Graham slides down to the 5 spot. He will be the designated hitter tonight. Colby Ferris in right field, batting 6th. Joe Brazil back at first base, batting 7th. Matt Magno behind the plate tonight, batting 8th. And Cal Campbell at second base, batting 9th. And pitching for the Chinooks is Zach Sundine, looking to bounce back from a rough outing last time. And certainly will hope to get back on track in this one. And for the Miners, David Bermudez leading off and playing shortstop. The third baseman, Casey Rother, batting second. Nick Sorelli at first base, batting third. Tyler Rando, the designated hitter, batting in the cleanup spot. Aaron Walters, the right fielder, will be batting 5th. Sam Thompson, the catcher, batting 6th. Mike Ferreira in left field, batting 7th. Josh Morozek in center field, batting 8th. And the second baseman will be J.D. Urso. He will be batting 9th. Pitching for the Miners is Christian Seelhorst. We'd like to thank all of you so much for joining us tonight. We know that you have a lot of things that you could be doing right now, but we do appreciate that you've taken some time to watch us here. So, over the last couple of days, the Anchorage Bucks have actually overtaken the Chugiak Chinooks for second place in the ABL, although it may be more of a technicality than anything, just by winning percentage. So the Bucks are 9-7, and the Chinooks are 10-8. So we have one more win and one more loss than the Bucks have. But by winning percentage, they just barely have the edge. So they are in second place right now. The Miners are in first place in the league right now at a fantastic record of 12-6. They right now are on a 3-game winning streak and have won 7 out of their last 10. So certainly the Miners playing some good baseball so far, as the first pitch of the ball game is outside for a ball to Will Batts. And that one's well outside, so the count moves to 2-0. So for those of you who are into interviews, we have a couple for you today, as head coach Ted McGovern will be joining us not head coach, assistant coach, I apologize. Ted McGovern will be joining us in the studio. So the count moves to 2-1, and the other interview right now that we have scheduled is Keara Chaperon will be joining us in the studio. Keara is our social media manager and guru, as that one's tapped into center field for a base hit. And she will be joining us somewhere around the 5th inning. We don't know exactly when Coach McGovern will be joining us today, but he did say that he would be joining us at some point. So get to look forward to that. Coach McGovern actually allowed us the privilege of going on to the military base out in Eagle River. So that was certainly an awesome moment for all of us. I know that I can speak for myself when I say I had a fantastic time this morning doing that. We just thank all of the amazing men and women that make up that platoon and make up that base, and we just thank them so much for their service and their sacrifice for our country and for our freedoms. So certainly an amazing thing. I got to sit in a Black Hawk helicopter in the pilot's seat, take some pictures. Got to sit in the Chinook plane, which, yes, there is a plane also called the Chinooks, which is hilarious, I guess. And we got to do some simulated rounds because they have simulators that literally simulate shooting a gun like target practice. They put like targets up on the screen, and it sends like shock waves through you, so it kind of feels like you're shooting a gun. And that was very, very cool. So we got to do all those things today. It was very, very amazing. So certainly had a wonderful time. And again, thank you so much to Coach McGovern for doing that for us, as that one's in there for a strike to John Mark Mullins. So the count to him moves to 1-1. And another move over to first. So Sealhorse certainly not wanting Will Batts to go anywhere, as I believe that's 3 or 4 pickoffs now already. And John Mark calls time. And the 1-1. Well upstairs. Sealhorse certainly looks like he's rushing himself a little bit. That is, you can kind of see him typically missing high and outside, which is a telltale sign that your front side is flying open and you're rushing yourself. So we'll see if he can adjust to that, and not there, as that one's well outside. And certainly you can almost see it in the volatility almost that he's kind of displaying when he releases the ball. His whole body's kind of flailing. And that also, I mean, granted, a lot of guys finish that way anyways nowadays. They want to have as much ferocity and velocity in their pitches as possible, but you could kind of see that one was a little bit more under control, and that one obviously was a strike. So we'll see if he can adjust throughout this game, or if that starts to become an issue. As Sealhorse taking a bit of a walk here, not sure what's happening. Clearly he's frustrated already. Doesn't like that John Mark keeps calling time, probably, if I had to guess. That's just a part of the game. It is frustrating as a pitcher, though. I can tell you that from experience. But it is just a part of the game. And that one's upstairs. So John Mark takes a walk. And so the first 2 base runners for the Chinooks have reached in this one, and that will bring up Hayden Keller, who has been one of the hotter hitters in the Chinook lineup this year so far. So we'll see if he can capitalize with 2 on and nobody out. And quick meeting between the pitcher and catcher. Perhaps they're going over what I just talked about. Probably not, though, because, again, I watch from a distance. So, and as a pitcher, I tend to be able to see some things. And then again, you'd never really know what the foundational issue is. It may not necessarily be the front side for him, but it very well could be. So we'll continue to monitor that as this goes along. Well, that pitch was in there. Good swing from Keller. He just fouled it back. But you can kind of see that Sealhorse's front side is kind of leaking out in front, not really bending, just kind of flies and stays straight, kind of flies over toward his side, which is a telltale sign that you're not getting all of the force and momentum that you otherwise might. I know it can be kind of hard to see those kind of things on the live stream. And again, arm stays straight and ball misses outside. So certainly, I think I'm getting somewhere with this. Granted, it might not necessarily be his front side that is the issue. There could be something causing his front side to do that, whether in his push off, whether the way he sets, his leg lift, anything could cause that. As that one is tapped foul. So the count is 2-2 to Hayden Keller. And that one is in the dirt. And a good block from Thompson there. So the count moves full, and the Chinooks have certainly done a great job of making Seelhorst throw a lot of pitches in this one so far, which is a good sign for them early in this ball game, as you know they would love to take a game from the first place Miners and get back in the hunt for first place. As currently they are 2 games back, as that one is fouled straight back. Keller stays alive. And another full count, and that one is swung on and missed. So Seelhorst strikes out Hayden Keller, and that is a big first out for him and for the Miners. But Keller with a good at-bat, making Seelhorst throw a lot of pitches, but he will go down for the first out of the inning. So a good bounce back there from Seelhorst, as he'll look to continue to be able to pound the zone, as Pate Fullerton will step up to the plate for the Chinooks with 2 on and 1 out. So certainly we'll hope to avoid the double play. And the first pitch to him is upstairs. The 1-0. Also well outside. Count moves to 2-0, so Pate Fullerton finding himself in a good hitter's count. And a premium RBI spot, so we'll see if he gets just a little bit more aggressive here. We'll also see what Seelhorst is willing to give him. That one is way outside and upstairs. And I mean, ladies and gentlemen, there are games, for sure, where I have pretty much, no matter what I did, I would pretty much throw the ball in the same spot every time. I mean, I remember vividly my sophomore year, there was a game where no matter what I did, no matter what adjustments I made, no matter where I aimed the ball, no matter where I looked, every single ball was in the, I mean, it was in the strike zone for the most part, but it was like up and in. It was like just that up and in corner of the strike zone. No matter what I did, I could aim at the back of the left-handed batter's box and close my eyes and still throw it there. Like, it was just one of those days where no matter where I wanted it, that's where it was going. So, you wonder if Seelhorst is feeling that right now, but maybe not, as he's gotten himself back into this count, as it's gone from 3-0 to 3-2 with 2 straight swing and misses. And the full count to Fullerton is just downstairs. Good take from Fullerton. And a close pitch, but no dice for Seelhorst. And that'll be his second walk of the inning as Fullerton draws a walk. And now that will be bases loaded. And just 1 out for John Graham, who has struggled in his last few ball games. And this is going to prompt a visit from the Miners pitching coach. So Big John Graham will look to keep this inning going for the Chinooks, and that one is tapped foul at home plate. And against the righty, you really have to sit and wonder what's going to happen here, as obviously Seelhorst has missed high and outside to lefties. He's faced 4 straight lefties. And now he's facing his first righty of the ball game, so any one of those could ride in and hit John Graham, and that'll prompt a run. So we'll see what happens here, as that one is tapped to the mound, and it's off Seelhorst's glove. And, oh, man, certainly rushed himself there. You could see it in his eyes. He saw a double play all the way, and he started to throw the ball before he caught it. And that's just something you absolutely hate to see for Christian Seelhorst. But for the Chinooks, it is a gift, as the E1 will result in the first run of the ball game, as the Chinooks will go up 1-0. And that will mean the bases are still loaded. And Colby Ferris will step up and look to keep this going. And that one is tapped into shallow center field, but it will be caught by J.D. Urso at second base. So that'll be the second out of the inning. So now Joe Brazil will step up to the plate. He's playing first base. And another person who has really struggled the last few ball games. He had a home run versus the Bucks. But other than that, he has really struggled over the last 5 or so ball games. So certainly he'd love to drive one here and break the slump and break this game open all at the same time. And that one is popped high in the air, perhaps playable behind home plate, but that will get into the seats and foul. So a second chance for Brazil. For those of you who are fans of other sports, the Atlanta Hawks were able to defeat the Milwaukee Bucks by a score of 110-88 in Atlanta today, without their best player in Trae Young. But I think the bigger story is that Giannis Antetokounmpo, the star player for the Milwaukee Bucks, left in the third quarter with what appeared to be a pretty reasonably major injury. So we'll certainly look to keep that up. However, I will say that German Marquez's no-hit bid was ended in the 9th inning against the Pirates, so there will be no no-hitter for German Marquez. But he was able to finish out the ball game with a complete game shutout, so certainly a great game for him. But no-hitter today. Although I will say, no-hitters kind of seem to be going, kind of becoming a little bit more common, as it would have been the 7th no-hitter this year. And we've already had a few close calls, other than no-hitters as well. So certainly seems to be more common this year than it has been in years prior, as the 3-1 pitch to Brazil is popped high in the air. Again, perhaps playable. And that will again get out of play as it cracks off our press box. So the count moves full to Joe Brazil, as I'm sure he'll look to adjust after 2 foul pop-ups. Maybe try and get on top of something a little bit more. But this is a big spot early in this ball game, as if Seelhorst can get out of this with just the 1 run, I'm sure he and his teammates will be thrilled. But he has thrown a lot of pitches in this inning, which is not good for his prospects in this ball game, especially when it comes to going deep into the ball game. So huge pitch here for both the Chinooks and the Miners, and the 3-2 is just outside. Great take from Joe Brazil. And so that'll walk in another run. So the third walk of the inning for Christian Seelhorst results in another run. So the Chinooks will take an early 2-0 lead, as Matt Magno will step up and look to keep things rolling here. Here in the top of the first. And the 0-1 is inside and downstairs for ball one. And, man, you really see Seelhorst, I mean, he's not even getting his off-speed over for a strike right now, which actually oftentimes when you're flying open like that, your curveballs and sliders might actually be able to get over the plate because you're throwing it on the side. And so that one is hit deep into left center field, and that is going to be run down in left field. Great play there from Mike Ferrara, who robs Matt Magno of extra bases and a couple of RBIs. So a huge play there, but the Chinooks do strike for 2 in the inning on 3 walks from Christian Seelhorst. So the Chinooks will head to the bottom of the first with a early 2-0 lead. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube. As for those of you who have listened to the prior streams, you'll notice that you normally are able to hear the crowd and the music. But tonight, you cannot, and that is because Aaron and I have made the executive decisions to not utilize the crowd mic tonight. And I will tell you why. It is because in this press box tonight, guys, I'm not embellishing, but it is 1,400 degrees in this thing. It is, I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. It is so hot that we pretty much have to keep the window open, or else Aaron and I will die. As the first pitch from Sundine is in there for a called strike. So we cannot close the window, which holds the microphone in place. So we have decided to simply not utilize the mic, as that one is ripped into left field by David Bermudez for a leadoff base hit. And so 2 pitches and 1 base hit for the Miners, as Zach Sundine is looking to bounce back from a rough outing last time. Only went 2 1/3 innings and gave up 8 runs. Only 4 earned runs, though. But still, 8 runs in 2 1/3 innings, no matter how you slice it, is not great. So he will look to bounce back, as that one is downstairs. Not a bad pitch from Sundine, but it was downstairs for ball 1. And that one's inside. Count moves to 2-0 on Casey Rother, who is playing third base in this ball game today. Normally he's been playing outfield, at least when I've seen him. So, interesting to see him at third today. And the 2-0 to him is off speed, and it's in there for a called strike. Good pitch from Sundine. And again, the Miners come into this ball game 12-6, first place in the ABL. Certainly right where they want to be at this juncture. And that one's well outside. So the count moves to 3-1. Good count for Rother, as I'm sure he'll look to drive something here. And that one's outside. So a walk here for Rother. So this inning starts exactly how the top half of this inning started, with a single and a walk. And so now Nick Sorelli will step up to the plate. He is playing first base. Sorelli with a good RBI opportunity here. But he's facing a tough lefty-lefty matchup against Zach Sundine. And that one is swung on and missed. Good start to the at-bat for Sundine as he gets ahead 0-1 with the curveball. And the 0-1 is well outside for ball one. The 1-1. Another off-speed pitch in there for a called strike two. Sundine looking to put away Sorelli, either with a strikeout or I'm sure he'd love a double play as well. And the 1-2 is tapped over to second. Let's see if the Chinooks can turn two. A flip on to second, throws to first for a double play. So they are able to get the ground ball double play as Cal Campbell starts it out with the turn. Good play from him, and good throw from John Market short, as per usual. So the Chinooks now have 2 outs here in the bottom of the first, as Tyler Rando will step up to the plate. He's normally a catcher, but he is the designated hitter tonight for the Miners. And the first pitch to him is downstairs. Rando is from Gonzaga, so certainly a prestigious school. Obviously best known for basketball, probably, as they, at least over the last few years, they've been perennial national championship contenders. Obviously this year they had a great run. And Jalen Suggs, arguably their best player, is now heading to the draft, as that one's in there for a called strike. So the count moves to 2-1. And Suggs is mostly predicted to go top 5, certainly top 10 in the draft. And that one is tapped over to Pate Fullerton at third. He throws to first, and that ball is dropped by Brazil, but he's able to stay with it. And he snags it while keeping his foot on the bag for the third out of the inning. So a little bit of a heart attack there for Sundine, but they are able to get out of it. So that is the third out. So a leadoff single and walk do not do anything for the Miners. So the Chinooks will head to the top of the second with a good amount of momentum and a early 2-0 lead. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube as Cal Campbell, the only member of the Chinooks to not get an at-bat in the first inning, will step up here in the second and pop that one high in the air, but playable in foul territory, and that will be brought in by Casey Rother at third base for the first out of the inning. So Cal Campbell swings at the first pitch and gets the first out of the inning as Will Batts will step up. He led the game off with a single and scored in the first inning. So we will see if Christian Seelhorst will be able to bounce back, although a huge out for him right there, as he certainly needs some quick outs after throwing a lot of pitches in the first inning, as that one is downstairs for ball one. Not so sure about the first pitch swinging for Campbell. I know you want to, if you see the pitch you like, you want to not miss it, but Seelhorst threw a lot of pitches and walked a lot of guys in the first inning, so certainly I wouldn't have, but there's a reason why I'm in the booth, as that one is swung on to J.D. Urso at second base, as Will Batts becomes the second out of the inning, so 2 quick outs for the Chinooks, and 2 quick outs for Christian Seelhorst, which for him, it's arguably way more important. As certainly he would love a really quick bounce-back inning after a rough first inning. And that one is in the dirt for ball one. The 1-0 upstairs for ball two. So a little bit better command for Seelhorst so far in this inning. Granted, he hasn't thrown a lot of pitches yet, so certainly had a couple of stretches in the first inning where he was throwing a lot of strikes, but way more stretches where he was not. That one is swung on and fouled straight back. Seelhorst certainly puts everything he has into every pitch, which you don't generally see from starters, at least physically, in terms of just the ferocity of their body. Generally, starters trying to tone it down a little bit. But he certainly brings it every pitch, and that one is fouled straight back. So the count moves to 2-2 on John Mark Mullins, who walked and scored a run in his first at-bat. And the 2-2. Swung on and hit right off of Seelhorst's side. And Mullins will reach base. So, going to have to see where that hit Seelhorst. He appears to be all right. And he's waving off the trainer or his coach in the dugout saying he's good. Not exactly sure where that hit him, but clearly it hit him pretty flush. My guess is it probably hit him in the side, where there's a little bit of cushion. So, certainly good news for him and for the Miners, as he appears to be all right. So that'll be a 2-out single for John Mark. So a good start to the ball game for him, as that'll bring up Hayden Keller, who put up a good 8-pitch at bat against Seelhorst, but it was eventually sat down on strikes. Excuse me. So we'll look to bounce back from that as Mullins takes off, and the throw down from Thompson is not in time. Good jump from Mullins, and he just beats the throw. So that'll be a stolen base for John Mark Mullins, as the Chinooks look to add on to their lead here with 2 outs. And the 1-0 is swung on and fouled straight back. And that is, Keller has certainly done that a lot so far tonight. Just barely missed on his swings. And he certainly has been hitting the ball well, especially with 2 outs. He has several 2-out RBI hits so far this year. And that one is swung on and missed. So the count moves to 1-2 as Seelhorst will look to work around the 2-out single and stolen base. And Hayden Kettler would love to get Mullins home and add to this lead. And the 1-2. Way outside for ball 2. The 2-2. Way outside again for ball 3. And at this juncture, you could probably eliminate any off-speed pitches from Seelhorst, as he's only thrown a couple, and they have not really been close. So certainly not going to try and throw that for a strike right now. At least I'd be surprised if he did, but knowing me, he'll probably do it. And he did not, as that one is in there for a called strike 3. As Heller goes down looking, and that is his second strikeout in the first 2 innings, so not a good start for him. But Christian Seelhorst able to work around the 2-out single and stolen base from John Mark Mullins, and so we will head to the bottom of the second inning with the Chinooks winning 2-0. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube. We do apologize for the delay, but for those of you who missed it, Aaron Walters starts off this inning with a base hit, so that is 2 straight innings where the leadoff man has gotten on base for the Miners. So Zach Sundine will look to get out of the jam that he's got himself in already, but that one's tapped over to short, and a tough play from Mullins and a good effort, but there was pretty much no chance anybody was going to be able to make that play. So just an unfortunate situation for the Chinooks, as that'll go for an infield single. But the reason why we were in a bit of a delay, in part, was because we have a special guest joining us in the studio, as assistant coach Ted McGovern has joined us here in the studio. Sir, how are you doing today?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me on the broadcast.
Oh,
and
not
thanks
a
for
problem.
all you guys do.
Oh, thank you so much.
Taking it out to Chinooks Nation.
Yes, sir. So, I have so many questions that I want to ask you, and I have such little time to do it, so I'm just going to jump right in. So,
Let's
how
go.
in the world did you get started with the Chinooks? I mean, it just seems like such a specific team to be able to get involved with. And a great play there from Paige Fullerton, as that will be a double play.
Yeah, fantastic question, Tyler. Yeah, a couple of years ago, I had got acquainted with Chris Beck, our GM, and talked about, coaching, and then I applied for Athletes in Action and went through the interview process, and yeah, they offered me a position as assistant coach, so definitely a blessing. Yeah, the Chinooks are just an amazing ministry, an awesome baseball program. So.
Yes, sir. And for those of you who do not know Coach McGovern, he is a military man. He is a colonel in the military. So that's obviously. I didn't get to say this to you today. I already told the fans that we were at the base this morning and how amazing it was. But thank you so much for your service and everything you've done for our country, sir. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What have you been able to, if anything, take from your experience in the military into Athletes in Action?
Well, one of the things, just to start off, is I'm a chaplain. So I'm the state command chaplain for the Alaska Army National Guard, and so I mean it's a ministry, and I spend a lot of time ministering to the needs of our soldiers, our leaders, our airmen over on the air side, and their families. And can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just turn it up a little bit. Don't
Gotcha.
worry about it.
And so, this is an amazing ministry here, the Chinooks and Athletes in Action, to baseball. Let's face it, baseball it's a game of failure, right? I mean, you hit, 300, you're an all-star. It's a game of failure, and there's a lot of negativity, just around. If we can bring the light of Christ to baseball, that is an amazing thing. Nice pitch. I thought he went.
I did too, but obviously it is not up to us, so Morozek takes a walk. So the inning will continue as J.D. Urso will step up to the plate. So anyway, sir, sorry.
But yeah, it's been an amazing ministry of just bringing Christ to baseball, and we had the opportunity to share the gospel with the Anchorage Glacier pilots the other night, and it was a really powerful moment with our guys, sharing their heart, their testimony, and and how to have a relationship with Christ. So it was really special. So I love that aspect of this ministry, and I think there's a lot of parallels between my ministry, with soldiers and airmen and leaders, and then with baseball players as well.
So on the topic of ministry for soldiers, has it been at all difficult to be able to kind of, this might sound strange, but kind of keep the faith and keep your faith and keep your walk as strong as you would like it? Because obviously, you're in the military, you're probably away from your family for long periods of time, depending on where you are and what you're doing. You might be surrounded by a bunch of guys and girls that may not feel the same way about the faith as you do. So I'm going to ask this question, but we're going to have to take a break here. But have you found it at all difficult at times to be able to keep that faith while you've been in the military? But we're going to have to pause on that, and we'll finish that when we come back. But right now, the Chinooks will head to the top of the third inning with a early 2-0 lead. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube as Pate Fullerton will step up to the plate here and hope to get this thing started for the Chinooks. And I am continued to be joined by assistant coach Ted McGovern for the Chinooks. So, again, Mr. McGovern, thank you so much for coming in and joining us today.
Absolutely. And Tyler, to answer your question, no, I don't feel like my faith has been stifled or really held back in any way, but has been, grown through the years, as a chaplain. And even before I was a chaplain, I was the line officer on active duty in the Army for 10 years before God called me to ministry. But chaplains were right there for me and were some of the first people that I, told about my decision for Christ and, how to live a life following the Lord. So no, it's been, and like I was telling you at the break, right? Especially when times are hard, people are seeking, especially I've been on 4 deployments, and most people are open, when you're in combat. That's just my experience. And I would say a lot of chaplains' experiences, I've heard that before. So yeah, it's been a blessing to be able to do that ministry, and today being able to take the team out and see, the folks in our National Guard Aviation Battalion was fantastic. It looks like Pate just swung on strike 3 there, 1 down.
Absolutely, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I know we did talk about it a little during the break, so I do appreciate you repeating that for all those on the stream. So kind of switching gears, obviously because the military is not your whole life. You have a whole other aspect of your life here. Obviously the guys clearly will learn a lot from you with your unique story and who you are and the things that you go through every day and things you've gone through in your life. In the military and with your family and everything like that. But what have you been able to learn from these guys as John Graham turns on that one, but that'll steer foul. So what have you been able to learn from this year's Chinooks team that may be different than other Chinooks teams in the past?
Well, that's a great question. This is actually my first year coaching with the Chinooks.
Is it really? I did not know that.
With the Chinooks, yeah.
All right.
I was supposed to be. I was on the coaching staff last year, but we didn't actually play.
Okay.
Okay. But the answer to your question is I've learned a tremendous amount. Just start with our skipper, manager, Coach John Groth. He is a wealth of baseball knowledge and just the way that he manages the game, the way that he interacts with players. What a fantastic field manager for us, and then Chris Beck, our GM, who really, handles everything, between the season, setting everything up, he and his wife Danielle and all that they do, just amazing. I've learned a ton already. Pitching coach Troy Hervey, just to watch him, how he manages the game with the pitchers. Mark Ortiz, with what he's been able to contribute. I've learned a ton from the coaching staff already. And a lot of the things I've learned, I'm a high school coach, right? I coach Grace Christian High School here in Anchorage. And, I tell you, some of these lessons that I'm learning, I'm definitely going to plug those into my coaching.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know why I didn't know that this was your first year. Maybe I just assumed that you'd been around because it just seems like the coaching staff so well and everything, so maybe I just assumed. So I do apologize for that. That's just a lack of knowledge on my part, so I do apologize. As that one's well inside to Colby Ferris. So in terms of the actual baseball aspect of things, what do you think you bring to the table that is unique from all those guys that you just mentioned, all the coaches, because they are of a huge wealth of baseball knowledge, Coach Groth and Coach Beck obviously with professional baseball experience. So what do you feel that you bring to the table that is unique from all of them?
Well, that's one of the things I've been trying to do is see, and right from the get-go, I asked Coach Groth, okay, how can I help? what can I do? And some of the best things I've been able to do is throw quality batting practice. Right? I mean, the guy is like my batting practice because it's straight and it's slow, right? And I am 50, right? I can't throw it I can't get it, zing it in there like I used to. But, and then the biggest thing is the encouragement. Baseball can be such a unforgiving game, and to be able to just encourage one another, right? I mean, it's Proverbs 27:17, right? As iron sharpens iron, so one sharpens another, right? I think in baseball, of all sports, I think you need encouragement, especially you strike out, you have a bad play, or even when you make a good play. So I think a lot of I think a ministry of encouragement, a lot of one-on-one, just helping with just little things, guys' swings, the way they're throwing, and then just helping the coaching staff with things that need to be done.
And
Pass
that one
ball
gets away from Thompson, so John Graham will move up 90 feet, and that will be a wild pitch.
Yeah, so I would say those things, and then also, I'm an Alaskan, so I mean I live here, right? And we've my wife Jennifer and I have lived here for 15 years, and so a lot of the Alaskan type stuff we're able to help with context and helping the boys get out and do stuff, and so I think those are the things that I've been able to bring so far.
Awesome. So, okay, apparently that was ball 4. It looked like Colby was just standing there, so I thought it was ball 3, but they fooled me. So obviously that was ball 4, so he will take his base, and that will prompt another mound visit, and you have to wonder if that's going to be it for Christian Seelhorst here, as he has thrown a lot of pitches.
Yeah, he threw 35 last inning, and I noticed that they were warming up. The Miners were warming up last inning, number 27. I can't remember the name, but I'm sure we'll get it soon.
And it looks like that will be it, as Lance Santier will take over for the Matsu Miners here. So, hang on, just give me 1 second. I do have another question I want to ask you, but we will take a little bit of a break while there is a pitching change here. So.
Yeah, Joe Brazil.
All right,
coming
so
up.
now John Graham, or not John Graham, excuse me, you just said it too.
Joe
Brazil will, excuse me, will step up here with 2 on and 1 out against Lance Santier, who will take over for Christian Seelhorst after, let's say, a tumultuous start for him today. 5 walks, 2 hits, and an error on himself. So certainly a rough outing for him. So he will turn it over to Santier as he'll look to get out of this jam.
That'd be nice to see Joe hit one out here.
Certainly would, as he has really struggled over the last few games. Certainly love to see him hit a ball hard, as that one is tapped foul. So, Mr. McGovern, I do have a question for myself here. This is a little more of a personal Tyler Lopes to Ted McGovern question here, not necessarily a baseball question, but as somebody who desperately, and I'm getting married in October, and as somebody who desperately wants to do life correctly and to really have a good work-life balance and everything along those lines and still provide for my family. I mean, I've seen it today. You know, you're on the military base during the day. You come here and you're coaching us at nighttime. You know, you seem like you're gone all day. So how do you balance all of the things that you have in your life and still have time to minister and be with your family during times like this?
That is an amazing question. Looks like Joe flies out to the first baseman, number 37. Just got under that one. Man, Tyler, that is a great question, and I'm still working on that.
Right.
But I tell you, I have been blessed with an amazing wife. Jennifer and I have been married for 23 years, and you know, there's been seasons, you know, with deployments, with coaching, with, you know, and the key, and we definitely have an understanding, is when we have time together, it's time together, and we focus on that. And even during this season of, you know, kind of, this has been a busy season, you know, to focus on being together when you have those moments, when you have those pockets. But yeah, I'll definitely be praying for you, you know, and your fiance as you guys get ready to get married. You know, I think that, you know, thankfully, you know, God doesn't leave us, you know, without a clue, right? You know, the scriptures really, you know, if we have Christ at the center of our, you know, of our marriages, you know, then we can love our spouse better. And I've found that to be, you know, over and over again the last 23 years. You know, especially being able to say, you know, I'm sorry, you know, and get ready for that, right? You know, because, you know, we each bring, you know, our own stuff, right? And being able to actually own your stuff and say, you know, I'm sorry, you know, and to be able to give and receive forgiveness, that's so key in any relationship, but especially with marriages. But I would say, I mean, that's been the key, you know, to being able to have balance, you know, is to that close connection with my wife, you know, and our children, to be able to do that. I don't know if I answered your question.
No,
but
certainly, yeah, absolutely. As I'm sure there's, and that one
yeah,
will be
all
a
right.
fair ball, and that hits off of Sorelli, and Magna will beat it out. And the throw to the plate is not in time, and great base running from John Graham as he read that all the way, and the Chinooks steal a run off of the error from Nick Sorelli, and so they will take a 3-0 lead here in the top of the 3rd inning. Very exciting play there from John Graham as he was just able to sneak in ahead of the tag. As Cal Campbell will now step up to the plate and look to keep things going. And that one is upstairs, maybe a little outside as well for ball 1. So when you played back in high school, possibly college, whenever your career was happening, what position were you? Were you a pitcher? Were you an outfielder? What did you What did you bring to the table?
Yeah, I was a pitcher, and I'm right-handed, so I was righty. So I was pitcher, first base, and outfield.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and one of the nice benefits of coaching is I get to, it's like I was out, playing catch with warming up somebody today, and still able to throw the ball and pitch, BP and hit fungos and still having fun with the game. There you go.
That one is ripped to third, and a great play. And you have to wonder what Colby Ferris was doing there, as he might have actually been able to beat that one out if he had kept going, but he decided to stop. So not sure what that was. But either way, Coach McGovern, thank you so much. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know you got responsibilities. You got to go back down there. So I won't keep you anymore. However, is there anything that you want to say to the fans on the stream before you head out?
The biggest thing I'd like to say to all the families out there is that you raise some amazing young men, and it has been such a blessing to get to know them. So, thank you for all of your prayers, for all of your support, for praying for us during this season, because the Lord is at work here, and I'm excited. If you do come up, I look forward to meeting you, and please, if there's anything that I can do, even if it's just prayer, please reach out. Thanks, Tyler and Aaron, for having me on. God bless you guys and all you do.
Thank you so much for coming on and joining us, and we hope to have you again soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube, as David Bermudez will once again grab a bat as he hits that one foul and out of play down the right field line. So the Chinooks have an early 3-0 lead, as they have taken advantage of some rather lackluster defense from the Miners, as they have 3 runs and only one of them are earned as of right now, as that one is tapped over to Pate Fullerton at third, and a good scoop over there by Joe Brazil saves an error, as that will be the first out of the inning. So Zach Sundine has been able to work himself out of a couple of jams so far in this one, as in both innings, the Miners have had runners in scoring position, but Sundine has been able to work his way out of it, and that certainly has been one of his calling cards so far this season, as he really has done a great job of, yes, he'll get himself into jams at times, but he's been able to work out of them. And that one is also tapped over to Pate Fullerton at third, and that one is also scooped by Joe Brazil. So Joe Brazil having himself a good day over there at first base so far, as that will be the second out of the inning. So 2 quick outs for Zach Sundine, as you know he'd love a 1-2-3 inning here, so that he can give his offense another chance to get some runs for him. So Nick Sorelli will grab a bat. He grounded into a double play in his first at-bat, so certainly not able to do that here, as that one's in the dirt. Zach Sundine, as I said early on in the broadcast, struggled in his last appearance. giving up 8 runs. Only 4 earned runs, though, in just over 2 innings of work. So certainly will look to bounce back from that, as that one is swung on and hit to deep left field, but that's going to steer foul and bang off the bingo sign out in left field. So certainly thank you so much to assistant coach Ted McGovern for joining us here in the studio early on in this one. Obviously, we didn't really know when he was going to join us, which is one of the reasons why we were kind of late getting on the broadcast, because I was about to start it, and then he walked in, so I had to make sure he was set and ready to roll, as that one is ripped into center field by Nick Sorelli for a base hit. So the 1-2-3 inning will not happen for Sundine here, as Nick Sorelli with a 2-out single. And that will bring up Tyler Rando, who grounded out to third base in his first at-bat. So Paige Fullerton over there getting busy. He's already had 4 plays in this one. And certainly, Zach would love to keep him heavily involved in the game if he's going to keep making plays. And the first pitch to Rando is outside. So again, thank you so much to Coach McGovern. Certainly a bit of a different feeling interview, I think, than the other interviews we've had. Obviously, we generally have interviewed players. So certainly good wisdom from him, as he's obviously had a lot of experience in a lot of different areas, in the military, baseball, with his family. So certainly a great amount of stuff that I was able to take from him. And guess what? Another tap over to Paige Fullerton, and he fires on to second base for out number 3. So a good inning from Zach Sundine, as the 2-out base hit doesn't amount to anything. And the Chinooks will head to the top of the 4th inning with a 3-0 lead early on in this one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube, as Will Batts will step in for his 3rd at-bat in 4 innings. As the Chinooks have certainly had a lot of foot traffic on the base paths in this one, as that one is swung on and tapped foul. So Lance Santier will continue to pitch for the Miners after taking over for the starter Christian Seelhorst. Seelhorst had a rough day, we'll put it that way, as that one's inside. 2 1/3 innings. Ended up being responsible for 3 runs on 5 walks and 2 hits. Granted, the defense didn't really help him out, as 2 of those runs wound up scoring on errors. But nonetheless, certainly not an efficient outing by any stretch. But Santerre was able to get out of the inning with no further damage, so he'll continue to throw for, wow, and that one thrown behind Will Batts. Looked like an off-speed pitch that just kind of got away from him. Certainly no intent there. I'll tell you what, folks, there are few more spine-jarring things that can happen in a sport than a guy throwing behind you, even if it is not on purpose. As that one is tapped out to short, and a great pick over there at first by Nick Sorelli. So Will Batts will be retired on a great scoop. And that'll be the first out of the inning. So John Mark Mullins will flip around and now bat right-handed for his third at-bat of the day. He right now is 1 for 1 with a stolen base, a walk, and a run scored. So certainly had a good start to the ball game, and he has arguably been the best and most consistent hitter for the Chinooks this season, as that one's tapped foul and out of play. And John Mark is second on the Chinooks currently in batting average, trailing only Patty McCormick, and just barely. And certainly Patty has played in less games, had less at bats, so it has been a very good start to the season for John Mark, as he's also contributed 11 walks, which I believe is tied for first on the team. And it is no wonder why his on-base percentage currently sits at just under 500, which also leads the Chinooks. So certainly a good argument to be made that John Mark has been the best hitter on the Chinooks up to this point, and that one is ripped into right field for a base hit. So his second hit of the ball game so far, as he is 2 for 2. So John Mark Mullins continues his hot hitting with a 1-out single, and that'll bring up Hayden Keller, who has really been the only one, or one of the few, I should say, Chinooks to not join in on the early offensive party. As, oh, well, that one runs in and hits Keller. Not sure where exactly that got him. Looked like it was either on the right shoulder or on the side, but he will take his base, and he has now become a part of the early offensive party. So right when I say that, so certainly he'll take that. Well, maybe he didn't want to get hit there, of course, but as I was saying earlier, nothing is more spine-jarring than when a pitcher, whether he means to or not, throws behind you. I've had that happen to me where there was a pitcher who was just struggling so bad with his command. He was throwing 87 miles an hour from the right side, and he threw 3 straight pitches behind my head. And by the third one, I quite literally looked at him and I said, "Come on, man, please." Because I just didn't want to die. That was essentially I did not care about the at-bat. You know? I just wanted to live. That's essentially what I'm getting at. Yeah, I turned into John Kruk against Randy Johnson. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't want to die. That's pretty much how that went. But Pate Fullerton has found himself down 0-2 here. And right now, Pate Fullerton is 0 for 1 with a walk. So, you know, he'd love to get one into the outfield here. And that one is swung on and missed. Good off-speed pitch there from Santerre. So Fullerton goes down on strikes for the second straight inning. And that will bring up John Graham, who reached on an error in the first inning, which brought in a run for the Chinooks. And he also walked and scored in the last inning with a great base running play. John has struggled at the dish over the last few ball games, but certainly has had some good swings in this one, so you like to think that maybe he will. And wow, let me tell you, folks, what an amazing jump that John Mark Mullins just had at second base. That will be one of the easiest stolen bases of third base you will ever see, as there wasn't even a throwdown. But anyways, so certainly with the amount of good swings that John Graham has been taking, as that one is looped down the right field line and foul, as Hayden Keller took off for second base. Got a pretty good jump, but John Graham felt confident in that pitch, but he just couldn't steer it fair. So the count moves to 1-1. And certainly it might behoove the Chinooks to get Keller to second base, as that would take away the force out at second and force the middle infield to make the throw over to first. And time is called. So let's see if they have Keller moving again on this 1-1 pitch. They do not, and that one is grounded over to short, and then we'll flip on to second for the force out. So nothing comes of the 1-out single and hit by pitch, but either way, the Chinooks will head into the bottom of the fourth inning with an early 3-0 lead. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network as Aaron Walters takes the first pitch from Zach Sundine for strike one. And the second pitch is tapped over to Cal Campbell at second. Throws on to first for out number one. So Aaron Walters got a hit in his first at-bat, but not so lucky in this one, as that will be the first out of the inning. As Sam Thompson, the catcher, will step up to the plate for the Miners. Just a reminder here that we will have Keara Chaperon, our social media and photographer guru, coming into the studio for an interview in the top of the fifth. So be sure to stick around for that, as that's coming up shortly, as that pitch is grounded onto shortstop. And so Sam Thompson will be retired for the second out. So that'll bring up Mike Ferrara here, who grounded into a double play to Pate Fullerton in his first at-bat. And that one is just outside. So Sundyne certainly working quickly here, as he has gotten 2 very quick outs. And looking for a third as that one just misses. Not bad 2 pitches from Sundyne, just barely missed on both of them. And a lot of times, it's actually a little more frustrating as a pitcher when you fall behind 2-0 despite making 2 pretty decent pitches, although that one's well upstairs, so not a great pitch there. So the count moves to 3-0. So after 2 quick outs, Sundyne in danger of losing Ferrara here. And it hasn't happened yet, as that one's in there for a called strike 1. And that one is swung on and tapped foul and out of play. So from 3-0 to 3-2 here, as Sundyne looks to put Ferrara away. And the 3-2. Curveball outside for ball 4. So another 2-out base runner for the Miners, as that is 3 innings in a row that they have gotten a base runner with 2 outs, as Sundyne still looking for that elusive 1-2-3 inning, and he's not going to get it here, as now Josh Mrozek will step up to the plate with the runner on first and 2 outs. And that one is swung on and ripped into the gap, and that might score a run. Hayden Keller will cut it off, and they are going to hold Ferrara at third. So a 2-out double for Josh Mrozek, as he got the pitch he wanted, and he did not miss it. So now, from having 2 quick outs and down their last strike, now the Miners are in danger of striking here, as J.D. Urso, the second baseman and number 9 hitter, will step up to the plate in a big spot for the Miners, as they would absolutely love to cut into this lead here and get some momentum back on their side after a rough start to this ball game, both offensively and, quite frankly, defensively as well, as they already have 2 errors in this one. And can Sundyne wiggle his way out of another jam? And that pitch is in there for a called strike, so good start for Sundyne. And even though there is a base open, I feel that it's probably best to go after the 9-hole hitter and make him prove something here, certainly after striking out in his first at-bat as well. And that one is tapped over to John Mark at short. He will come on, make the throw to first. So Zach Sundyne gives everybody a little bit of a scare, but nothing comes of the 2-out walk and double. So the Miners cannot score here in the bottom of the 4th, and we will head to the top of the 5th inning with the Chinooks leading 3-0. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube as Colby Ferris stepping up to the plate, and he's already found himself in a 1-1 count against Lance Santier, who has pitched well since entering the ball game here for the Miners. But more importantly, I have a special guest joining me here in the studio as Keara Chaperon. Is that how you pronounce Chaperon? That is how you pronounce it? Awesome. Just wanted to make sure. Has joined me here in the studio. She is our social media photographer guru, and she has gracefully decided to to join us here in the studio. Keara, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Tyler. Thanks for having me on here.
Not a problem. Thank you so much for joining us. So why don't you tell the folks at home just a little bit about yourself? Because my guess is they haven't seen you on the stream. Probably they might have seen you off on the side taking pictures every once in a while, but they might not know who you are.
That is true. So I was born and raised in Alaska, so I'm an Alaskan. I go to Central Michigan. I'm a photojournalism major and a sports management minor. So the goal is to become a sports photographer. But more specifically, I want to join the National Hockey League somewhere.
Wow. All right. Well, that's certainly an awesome dream to have.
Yes.
As that one is pumped out of play down the right field line by Joe Brazil, who has certainly struggled in the last few ball games. But anyways, so NHL, obviously a much different environment than what you have here. So what got you involved specifically with the Chinooks on your journey to try and make it to the NHL?
Yeah, for sure. So I want to do a summer internship because it's going to be a lot easier than trying to do one in the fall or the spring.
I feel that.
Yeah, would have worked a lot better with my schedule. My dad actually knows Mr. Bartow, who's the manager of the team when Chris isn't here. So I emailed Mr. Bartow, and then he sent me to Chris. And originally I was supposed to intern with the Chinooks last year, but because of COVID, that didn't work out. But I was lucky enough to be able to intern this year.
There you go. All right, that certainly makes sense. I am doing the exact same thing. Same thing happened to me. I was supposed to be here last year, didn't happen, so now I'm here. So certainly understand that grind. As the 1-2 is swung on and drilled to fairly deep left field, but will remain in play.
Oh, how are you liking Alaska, Tyler?
As I like it. I certainly am having a good time. I think the culture is a bit of a shock for a Florida boy. I mean, I have said to my host family and anybody else who will listen, Florida and Alaska deserve to be so geographically apart because they are polar opposite cultures. I mean, it just makes sense. Like, you wonder how in the world people from California come here all the time, because it just seems like California and Alaska are such different cultures, and they're so close to one another, at least by comparison. So certainly it has been a bit of a shock, hikes and biking and nature walks and all that stuff. I'm not used to it, but certainly a beautiful state. Certainly, I never get tired of looking at the mountains, but I am having a good time. So thank you.
That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah, and hopefully that you're having a good time with the Chinooks here, and nobody's driven you nuts other than me yet.
Probably you would be.
Yep.
Yeah,
That
but
makes
otherwise,
perfect sense.
I absolutely love working for the Chinooks.
All right. Well, I don't know what your schedule is, so I will ask you. Do you think you could stick around for another half an inning, or do you have to get going?
No, I don't have to get going.
You don't have to get going. Perfect.
I make my own schedules, Tyler.
There you go. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. So then we will have some more from Keara when we come back in the bottom of the fifth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube as that pitch is in there for a called strike one. So I am still joined by Keara Chaperon.
Hey, guys.
Here in the bottom of the fifth as that one is hit down the third base line and foul. What kind of started you on the photography, social media kind of journey that you're on now? Is that just something that you picked up as a hobby and it transformed? Is it just something you always knew you wanted to do? Where did that start for you?
That's a great question. So it started for me when I was in high school. I loved nature, so I ended up starting taking like pictures of any landscapes I could, and then realized I didn't really like it that much. So then I switched to portraits, and I started interning with a local photography studio in town, and then I realized I'm not a huge fan of portraits either.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, why don't I just do sports? Like, I grew up playing hockey my entire life. Like, let me just go out and start taking pictures of hockey. So I started interning with, it doesn't exist anymore, but Echo News in Eagle River.
Okay.
So I started shooting for them and actually started writing for them. And then I realized this is what I want to do. So, and then I just kept kind of shooting sports wherever I went. And then I finally got a job at Central working as a sports photographer. And this definitely solidified, like, this is what I want to do with my life is sports.
Certainly. And I know that obviously the folks at home don't know this. So you work at not a hockey rink, but an ice rink.
That is true, yes.
So is that also kind of, does that kind of satisfy like the other side of the sport kind of world for you? Because obviously you love photography, so you come out here and you do this, and obviously you said you want to play hockey, so does that kind of fulfill the other side of that for you?
Yes, definitely. Even when I stop playing hockey, like once I graduate, I still want to be around hockey and the sports, and well, just sports in general. So even just being there at the rink, helping around, watching other people skate, it makes me happy. Like you said, it fulfills me. Like I love doing it.
Certainly. So, if you had to pick a hockey team, dream hockey team that you'd want to work for, which one would it be?
Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, so you must be pretty happy. I think they're in the NHL finals, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
They kind of got drummed the other night, though. I think.
Yeah, they lost 5-1.
Yeah.
It sucked. But hey, they were the wild card and made it all the way to the finals. So I'm just happy that they did that.
That makes a lot of sense, certainly. So I know they haven't really been that relevant for
No, they
the last
have not.
few years. I don't know much about hockey, but I do remember like watching videos and reading some articles about how bad the Canadians were a couple years ago. So
pretty bad.
So that must be really awesome for them to get back to being good. Because I know when I was a kid, Bruins and Canadians, it was like
it was
really really a rivalry. So certainly good to see them back. At least for you, maybe. I don't really care necessarily, but
no, that's fine.
You know,
it's fine.
And the 0-1 is just outside. So, did you have any special connection to baseball necessarily, or was the Chinooks just kind of, Alaska sports, it all works out for the internship, or did you also kind of want baseball as well?
I knew I wanted to do baseball because it was the easiest sport to find an internship for during the summer. But I was open to anything. I did get a job opportunity to go and shoot lacrosse, but I decided I'd rather go home and like have no rent, don't have to pay for food. So I get to do everything I want, which is social media, pictures, graphics. The Chinooks really are giving me such a great opportunity here that I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else.
Yeah, certainly. All right, that makes a lot of sense. So now the Chinooks find themselves in another jam, and honestly, I'd feel a lot worse about this if it weren't for the guy on the mound who, essentially, his second occupation at this point is getting himself out of jams. That's pretty much what he's been doing all night and all season, with the exception of his last outing, of course, who I think we all have kind of looked at and said, yeah, that's definitely an outlier. So, Keara, what kind of relationships? Obviously, you spend some time up with us in the booth before and after games. So obviously, we have a relationship with you. But what kind of relationship have you been able to build with the coaching staff and the other players so far?
So I already knew Rocco, or Justin, as a lot of people know him. I grew up knowing him as Rocco. I graduated with his older brother, so like I've known Rocco for a long time, so we have a pretty good relationship. For the most part, all the guys are super friendly with me. They're really nice. They're super outgoing. Like, whenever they see pictures, they start posing, doing weird things. Like, Matt always goes for the peace signs. So if you see, like, every single picture I have of Matt, pretty much, he's doing peace signs if he's not out on the field.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But, yeah, they're awesome.
Good. I'm glad that they haven't given you too much trouble.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they joke around with me sometimes, but, I mean, you have to joke around.
Of course, yeah. That means they like you, normally.
Yeah, exactly.
When people joke around with you, that means they like you. So, this is going to prompt a visit from pitching coach Hervey, as Zach Sundine, after striking out David Bermudez to open the inning, has issued 2 singles and a walk here. So, certainly, this inning's starting to get a little bit out of hand as the top of the order has scratched out some base runners against Zach Sundine. Granted, the Miners have really done a good job of scratching out base runners all night, as they have 7 hits and a handful of walks as well. So certainly they have not been strangers to the base paths, as they do have 4 walks. That's the exact number. I had to make sure I check my notes to get the number right. So 11 total base runners in now 4+ innings, and it has not translated to the run column so far, which kind of goes to show you how well Zach has been able to work himself out of jams, and he still is just 1 ground ball double play away from working out of this one. So we'll see how this goes, as Aaron Walters will bat for the 2nd time in the last 2 innings.
What got you started with baseball?
Well, I've been playing baseball since, honestly, I can remember. I mean, I played t-ball when I was 4 years old. And just from my earliest memories, I always my grandfather was a softball pitcher in Massachusetts when he was younger. Obviously, when I was, he was in his 80s when I was a kid, but he was a softball pitcher, and he would always just tell me of all the, how it would feel to be on the mound and everything, and I always wanted to do that. And my parents actually didn't want me to. My parents didn't want me to pitch. Yep, they never wanted me to pitch.
Were they afraid that you were going to get hit by a ball or something?
Yeah, they were worried because, a lot of times you see, like, especially nowadays, there's a lot of coaches that don't really know what they're doing, and so if you have a pitcher that's any good, they'll just waste their arm and they'll get really hurt. So they didn't want that to happen to me, but by the time I was 10, they couldn't hold me back. I really wanted to pitch, and finally, as Aaron Walters strikes out, and a huge strikeout for Zach Sundine, as that'll bring 2 outs in the inning. So yeah, by the time I was 10, they could not hold me back. Our team had run out of pitchers in a game. We were getting beat pretty bad. And they said, please, and my coach literally said, please, anybody who could pitch, just come out and pitch. And I was like, I can do it. Please let me pitch. And it was a lifetime from there. I just got done pitching in college, so
that's amazing.
Yeah, pretty much, Ben, as that one is ripped into left field, but right to Hayden Keller. And once again, Zach Sundine able to work himself out of a jam. So, Keara, what is your schedule looking like? Do you have another half an inning to hang around?
I do, yeah.
You do. Awesome. So we're going to do that. If any of the people in the comments section have questions, this is your opportunity to put them in the comments section for Keara. If you don't, totally fine. I still have some more questions left loaded in the gun here, but if you do have questions, certainly I'll make that my priority. So anyways, we will head back when we enter the top of the 6th inning with the Chinooks still leading 3-0. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube as Cal Campbell will lead things off once again, as that one is in there for a called strike. Certainly close. And I am still joined by Keara Chaperon, the photographer and social media person for the Chinooks. Again, Keara, thank you so much for coming in here and joining us tonight.
Thank you, Tyler, for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Aaron, for letting me use your seat. I appreciate it.
So, what has been the most fulfilling part of working for the Chinooks this summer so far?
Pretty much doing everything that I want to do. I've mentioned this before, but like I run their social media, I do photos, I do graphics for them, which is everything I'm learning in my major, and everything that I kind of want to do with my life. Baseball is one of the hardest sports to take pictures of, especially when a batter's up to bat and you're trying to get that ball right before they hit it, because normally the pictures are before or after them hitting it. So it's fulfilling to know, like, when you get that perfect picture, you're like, yes, I got it. I can add this to my portfolio. It's gonna look good, and yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Awesome. So, obviously, you know, you're kind of in the same position as I am, as Cal Campbell swings and misses for the first out of the inning. You're kind of in the same position as I am, where, you know, after this, you're going to be looking for jobs, looking for places to work, and obviously, you know, I'm sending my resume as there you go. You have some nice words in the comments section.
Thank you, Cassie. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I'm obviously sending my resume to certain places, and also now my lovely, beautiful, fantastic fiance has I'm here.
That's so sweet of her.
Yeah, so she helped me out with that, so I'm sending that out to people. But the reason why I'm saying that is because what does that resume, not necessarily specifics of the resume, but what does the resume look like for you? Are you just like going out and saying, "Look at my pictures," or is there kind of a little bit more to it for you?
It's a little bit more to it. My portfolio is my resume, basically. I mean, I do have like one of those Word docs with a resume to look at, but more people want to look at my portfolio than they do. Like, I mean, experience is obviously important as well, but they want to see my work more than my resume. Like, they don't want to see that I worked at an ice rink for 3 years. They want to see that I worked at a newspaper for 3 years or something like that, and they want to see the pictures that I have in my portfolio and stuff. So it's more based on your portfolio than anything else.
That makes sense, as that one is flown out to right field. And Aaron Walters will step over and make the catch for the last out of the inning. And so, unfortunately, Keara, that means we are out of time. I don't want to keep you up here all day. I know you've probably got a lot of shots that you missed in that inning and a half. So I will let you go. But is there anything that you want to say to the people on the stream before you head out?
We just thank you for your support, or I thank you guys for your support, or we all thank you for your support.
Either one of those works. They all work.
And all of those work.
Yeah.
We just appreciate it. So thank you for letting your sons come to Alaska, which is far away from pretty much everything else.
Yep.
So, yeah, thanks, guys.
All
right. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to have you back in here soon.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinook Radio Network here on YouTube as the first pitch from Zach Sundine is inside for ball one. So John Mark Mullins flew out to end the last inning. So the Chinooks went down 1-2-3 in the last inning. And now Mike Ferreira starts off this inning with a base hit. So once again, Zach Sundine will have to work with a runner on base as, my goodness, I mean, we were just talking about it in the break, and it is hard to believe at a certain juncture that the Chinooks are winning this game 3-0 as they are being thoroughly outperformed on offense in a lot of ways. But the Chinooks have taken advantage of a couple of errors on the defensive end and have really done a good job of maximizing their opportunities, whereas the Miners are putting up a goose egg in terms of hitting with runners in scoring position. And they have had runners in scoring position in many innings, and they will have it again as Allen is ripped into right field as Ferrara will hold at second base. So Josh Morozek is 2 for 2 tonight with a walk. So he's had a great ball game so far as now J.D. Urso will step up to the plate. He grounded to shortstop in his last at-bat, and you know he'd love to avoid that here at all costs and avoid the double play. But despite having 9 hits as well as 4 base on balls in this ball game, the Miners have put up a goose egg as they are going to bring in a pinch runner here as Tyler Wilson out of GCU will take over as the pinch runner at second base. So Mike Ferrara will exit as Tyler Wilson, I presume, will also be taking over in left field. And certainly a good move for them as Wilson a little bit speedier on the base paths than Ferrara is. So a base hit has a better shot of scoring a run for the Miners, but that is the task, is getting a base hit in this scenario off of Zach Sundine has been difficult, to say the least, so far. And the first pitch to Urso as he squares to bunt, and that pitch is inside. Probably not a bad idea to have him bunt here, as certainly that would take the double play out of the questions should he execute the bunt properly. And the next pitch is bunted down the third base line, and a good bunt from Urso as he does his job. As that will move the runners into scoring position, as now with a runner on second and third with just one out, David Bermudez, who singled in his first at-bat, will swing it here. He's 1 for 3 tonight, but this is a huge spot for the Miners. As you know, they would love to be able to crawl back into this ball game here and get at least one of these runners across. And that one is swung on and missed. And good job from Magno to keep that one in front of home plate, as that curveball was well executed, as Bermudez just couldn't help himself. So the count moves to 0-1. And Zach Sundine has been able to dance out of a lot of jams today with no damage on the run column. So let's see if he could pull another rabbit out of his hat. And that one is tapped to the mound. And Sundine could not handle it. So that will be an error on Sundine. Not the worst thing in the world, as the run did not score, but you know he would have loved to get that out because the runner was not moving, which is kind of surprising at this point, especially given Wilson's speed at third. I think he really, if he had booked it, he might have been able to make that. but decided to be conservative. So, Sundyne would have loved to get that out. But, again, not the worst thing in the world. As now Sundyne has a double play opportunity against Casey Rother, who is 1 for 2 with a walk in this ball game so far. So certainly a tough out. And that one's downstairs, and he's an even tougher out when you fall behind 2-0 here. And certainly after getting out of so many jams, you certainly wouldn't want to knock it out of this one because of an error, and now maybe a walk, as that one is upstairs for ball 3. So a 3-0 count here to Rother, and I'd be shocked if he was doing anything other than taking here. But then again, this is the ABL, so you just never know. And the 3-0 is upstairs. So that will walk in a run, and Sundyne clearly frustrated. And that is going to be it for Zach Sundyne. So certainly, he wanted to finish this inning and get out of this jam, but I do not think he's going to have the opportunity to do so. Or maybe he is. I thought I saw Coach Hervey give the signal to the bullpen, but nobody is moving down there, so perhaps they're going to let Sundyne try and work his way out of this, and they will. So we will see if this decision comes back to work out for the Chinooks or if it's going to hurt them. And certainly not a bad option, as Nick Sorelli, who's a left-handed batter, is going against the lefty-lefty matchup. However, Sorelli is 2 for 3 tonight, so certainly it has not seemed to affect him so far. So we will see what happens here as Sundyne's 0-0 is swung on and belted into the gap. And that is going to be gone! So they leave Zach Sundyne in, and the first pitch is hit out of the park, and just like that, it is 5-3 Miners. And man, that is about the worst case scenario for the Chinooks, and that goes without saying. But nonetheless, the Miners finally are able to explode here in the bottom of the 6th, and just like that, the Chinooks go from up 3 to down 2 in a matter of moments. And now, certainly, there will be a pitching change as Zach Sundyne will exit. And an unfortunate way to end this outing, as he certainly pitched well before this inning kind of got away from him. Now the JoJo Penberthy will take over with the Chinooks down 2 here in the bottom of the 6th. All right, so the Miners, excuse me as I'm continuing to drop things. So the Miners strike for 5, just like that, here in the bottom of the 6th. I mean, quite literally, it happened in a matter of moments. As a single or excuse me, a walk from Casey Rother, immediately followed next pitch by a grand slam from Nick Sorelli. And suddenly, now the Chinooks find themselves trailing. And now JoJo Penberthy is up 1-2, and that one is not in there for called strike 3, as you could tell Penberthy and Magno both wanted that one, but they don't get the call. So the count moves to 2-2 on Tyler Rando, the designated hitter tonight. And that one is swung on and tapped down the first base line foul. So safe to say, not the inning that anybody on the Chinooks wanted here tonight. But we will see if Penberthy can get out of it, as that one's tapped foul. And that one is driven deep to left field, and that one is also gone. Back-to-back home runs by the Miners, and suddenly it's like their offense has exploded here after being held back for 5 innings, and now the score balloons to 6-3. My goodness. It is so incredible how quickly momentum can shift in a baseball game. I mean, it has quite literally been 4 minutes, maybe 6 minutes, since we were up 3-0, and suddenly now it is 6-3, just like that. And that pitch is in there for a called strike. And that one is now drilled into the gap. Can Will Batts get there? He leaps, and no, he cannot make the catch. So Aaron Walters will coast into second base with a double, and suddenly there's pretty much nothing that the Chinooks can give these Miners that they're not going to crush, as that is 3 straight extra base hits. So now Sam Thompson will step up to the plate and look to continue this monstrous inning from the Miners. And that one is in there for a called strike. Good pitch from Penberthy as he's looking to bounce back after giving up a home run and a double, just to try and stop the bleeding here for the Chinooks, as Sam Thompson is the 9th batter to come to the plate so far in this inning. And that one's well outside, and a good snag from Magno, as certainly if he was not able to snag that, that would have gone to the backstop. So a great pick there from him. And there's a reason why they call that position the catcher, folks. And the 2-1 is also in there for a called strike. Certainly looked a bit outside, but nonetheless, Chinooks will certainly take it at this juncture, as the count moves to 2-2. Do not pay any attention to the scoreboard, because the scoreboard says the count is 3-1. It is not. The count is 2-2. And the 2-2. Swung on and tapped over to second, as Campbell with a great play, and he's got him. Good play from Cal Campbell. And that'll be the second out of the inning, as certainly that saved a run.
Andrew Zwink to the concession stand. Now batting for your Miners, left fielder number 44, Tyler Wilson.
So now Tyler Wilson, who pinch ran earlier in this inning in fact, will take over here and swing. Now, we don't really actually know whether that was the plan or not, but they have to right now, since he came in and pinch ran in this inning. And that one is tapped foul. And that one is downstairs, so count moves to 2-1 as Penberthy looking to get the Chinooks back in the dugout and stop this rampage from the Miners offense, as they have exploded here. And that one is in there for a called strike. And certainly Chinooks getting some calls in the outside corner here, and the Miners are not happy about it. And I don't blame them necessarily. So the count moves to 2-2. And that one is swung on and tapped straight back. The 2-2. Swung on and hit foul down the left field line. So Wilson putting up a good fight here, trying to keep this inning going. And another 2-2. Curveball just outside off the plate, and both Magno and Penberthy wanted it, but didn't get it. And so the count moves full to Tyler Wilson. And the 3-2. Swung on and drilled to right field, but Colby Ferris is there to make the catch for out number 3. So let's just call it a rough inning for the Chinooks, as they give up 6 runs on 6 hits in that inning. So definitely a rough one in this inning, as they were winning 3-0 going into that half inning, but now they find themselves trailing 6-3 as we are going to head to the top of the 7th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube as Hayden Keller leads off the 7th inning for the Chinooks as they look to get some momentum back after giving up a 6th spot in the bottom of the 6th. And certainly the scoreboard looks a little bit more normal, as it was kind of odd looking at it with the Miners having 9 hits and no runs, as that you just don't see that often. But now 6 runs on 12 hits will certainly look a lot more realistic. as Hayden Keller has worked himself into a full count on Lance Santier, who, I'll tell you what, folks, has certainly pitched really well out of the bullpen tonight and has given his team a chance to come back in this one, and they have rewarded him with the comeback effort in the last inning. And for those of you who are fans of college baseball, after Vanderbilt beat Mississippi State a few nights ago in pretty convincing fashion, Mississippi State responds tonight by beating Vanderbilt in an even more convincing fashion as they defeated Vanderbilt 13-2. So certainly a huge offensive outburst, as it looks like Sam Thompson got hit with a foul ball there, and he seems to be shaken up pretty good. And you have to wonder if he's going to be all right to stay in the ball game. He certainly looks shaken up. And I seem to be checking his jaw. But anyways, so certainly the prediction between Aaron and I coming down to the wire, as I do believe it is the deciding Game 3 coming up next. So I think either way, I think we both did a pretty good job as it pertains to our predictions. Actually being able to watch a couple of games, as Sam Thompson's going to try and stay in this ball game, so certainly good for him and for the Miners. Watching a couple of games that I have, I like Vanderbilt a lot less than I did when I predicted them, as it just kind of seems like their offense struggles at times. They don't have a lot outside of their two really great pitchers. So, I would not be surprised if Mississippi State ends up pulling it out. They seem like a little bit more of a complete team. They don't necessarily have the name brand star power, as Hayden Keller rips that 3-2 pitch into right field for a base hit. So a leadoff single, and perhaps this will start a big rally for the Chinooks, as they certainly are in need of one right now. Anyways, they seem like they have a little bit more of a complete team. So I would not be surprised if they are able to pull it out. Although I think they are going to have to face Kumar Rocker in their next game, which certainly he is not an easy task. So we will see how that plays out here over the next couple of days. But either way, Pate Fullerton stepping up in the box here, and he's quickly down 0-1, and that pitch is outside. And the 1-1 is swung on and floated out toward shallow right field. And J.D. Urso, the second baseman, will come on and make the catch for the first out of the inning. So Pate Fullerton struggling so far tonight. He's 0 for 3 with a walk now. And now John Graham will step up to the plate. He's also struggling, as he's 0 for 2 with a walk, but he did score a run. So certainly has left his print on the game so far. And the 0-0 is downstairs. So Lance Santier has certainly done his part to be named MVP for the Miners in this game. Although certainly he'll have some competition, especially after the grand slam by Nick Sorelli in the last inning. Certainly he'll have a little bit of competition, as Sorelli has had a great ball game as well. 3 for 4 with a grand slam. So that's certainly a good day at the ballpark, no matter how you slice it. And ones are wild. 1 on, 1 out, 1-1 count. And that one is tapped foul, so no more ones are wild, unfortunately. Ones are wild are very, very, very short phenomenon. As if you have twos are wild, then you can have foul ball after foul ball, and you can have twos are wild for an hour if you wanted to. But ones are wild are pretty short. And the 1-2 as Keller takes off, and that one is drilled. And Tyler Wilson cannot get there. So John Graham's going to have himself a double, and a big-time hit from John Graham, and that had to feel good for him as he has certainly been struggling at the dish, and finally able to break through with an extra base hit. Had to feel good for him. And so the Chinooks now have 2 runners in scoring position with just 1 out here as they look to chip into this lead, and they're running out of chances to do so. So Colby Ferris would love to keep this inning going here, and you have to wonder if that'll be it for Lance Santier, and if it is, a magnificent job for him out of the bullpen. Certainly kept the Miners in the ball game enough to have them come back in this one, and that will be it for him, and he'll certainly get a lot of love from his teammates in the dugout as he helped, I should say, turn the entire complexion of this ball game around. So good for him, and I know I'm supposed to be a little biased towards the Chinook, but you know what? I'm a pitcher myself. So I see a good outing. I'm going to have to give somebody props. I can't help myself. So certainly a great outing for him as Evan Wolf will take over for him, with the Chinooks having runners in scoring position with just 1 out here in the top of the 7th. So Colby Ferris will step up and look to drive in some runs, but a good pitch from Wolf gets ahead 0-1, and certainly don't see that very often. First pitch for a reliever coming in the game is a curveball, so certainly look to keep Ferris off balance, and he has so far, as that curveball is also there for a strike, because that was swung on and missed. So Ferris quickly down 0-2 here, and at this point Wolf has pretty much his entire arsenal to play with here, as Ferris is really going to have to work hard to crawl back in this at-bat, and that one's upstairs. Good pitch from Wolf. Certainly a tempting pitch on 0-2, especially after seeing 2 curveballs that probably started around that eyesight. So the 1-2 from Wolf swung on and missed. 3 curveballs, 3 strikes for Wolf. So Colby Ferris goes down swinging, and so that means the Chinooks have to work really hard here to get those runs across with 2 outs, as Joe Brazil will step up to the plate. He has struggled so far and has struggled in his last few ball games, so he's starting to get the feeling that he's getting to be due here. And no time better than to break out of a slump than right now, with runners in scoring position in a tight ball game. And a good check swing from Brazil as that curveball was outside. So the count moves to 1-0 here. And you know Joe Brazil would absolutely love to sting one into the gap, especially in center field, as that center fielder certainly seems to be playing quite shallow. And we know that Joe Brazil can hit the ball hard when he makes contact, as he has an opposite field home run already this year. And a good hitter's count for him, as the count's 2-0. So we'll see what Wolf does to go after him here. And that pitch is also outside. Good pitch from Wolf. Certainly the Miners wanted it, but they did not get it. And so 3-0 to Brazil, and he's taking all the way, and my goodness. And you could actually hear the crowd here saying, really? That was the same pitch. So, interesting here, but the count moves to 3-1, but it's all right because Joe Brazil wants to hit anyway. And the 3-1 is swung on and drilled to right field. And that's going to get, oh, what a catch! What an amazing catch by Aaron Walters in right field, saving 2 runs and robbing Joe Brazil of an extra base hit. And for Joe Brazil, you literally cannot put a better swing on the baseball than that, but sometimes that's just baseball. And so he goes down for the last out of the inning. So the Chinooks will still be trailing 6-3 when we head to the bottom of the 7th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube as Hannes Kindreich will take over for JoJo Penberthy, who basically was put in a situation where really he couldn't win. And that one is ripped and caught by Cal Campbell over at second. So good swing from Morozek, but it ends up not really mattering as that'll be the first out of the inning. So the Chinooks were leading in this ball game for the vast majority of it. For those of you who cannot really read the scoreboard, it can be hard from a distance because the 6 probably still looks like a 0 from the distance you guys are seeing it at. And so the Miners put up a 6 spot in the 6th inning. And that one is flown out to the middle of the infield as John Mark Mullins steps up and makes the catch for the second out of the inning. So David Bermudez will grab a bat and swing with 2 outs here as Hannes Kindreich looking for, surprisingly, the first 1-2-3 inning for the Chinooks in this entire ball game, as they have not gotten one yet, as the Miners have just had base runners all day long here. 12 hits, 5 walks. I mean, it has just been maniacal on the base paths so far, as well as an error, too. So don't discount that. So a lot of foot traffic for the Miners in this one, as their offense has certainly been performing phenomenally, not just today, but over this whole season, which is part of the reason why they are in first place right now. So that close pitch is also upstairs for a ball. So the count moves to 3-0. And the 3-0 from Kindreich is in there for a called strike. And the 3-1. Swung on and tapped over to Cal Campbell. He'll fire on to first for the third out of the inning. So Hannes Kindreich does actually complete the ever-elusive 1-2-3 inning for the Chinooks tonight. And he continues to perform admirably this season. But the Chinooks offense now has a huge task ahead of them as they have to come back from down 3 as we head to the top of the 8th. All right, and we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube as Matt Magno step up and look to get something going for the Chinooks as they are running out of chances to come back in this ball game. As that pitch is in there for a called strike 1 as Evan Floyd, so back-to-back Evans coming out of the pen for the Miners, will take over here in the 8th. And that one's downstairs, so the count moves to 1-1. And certainly for the folks at home, you're getting a glimpse as to why the Miners are currently in first place here in the ABL, as that pitch is outside, as Magno held up. And yes, he did hold up. So, a late check there, but you know, better late than never. That's what they say. So, count moves to 2-1. So, certainly you guys are getting a glimpse as to why the Miners are so successful, as that one's in there for a called strike. And Magno's saying, no, I'm not really into that call. As they have put on an offensive clinic, and their bullpen has certainly performed fantastic tonight, as the Chinooks have only had 2 hits since the Miners starter left the ball game. So certainly they have done a outstanding job putting the Chinooks bats at bay. And the full count to Magno is downstairs. So Magno works a walk. Good at bat from him there. As the Chinooks, again, get their leadoff guy on for the second inning in a row. Couldn't capitalize on it in the last inning, so we'll see if things are a bit different here. And it appears that Justin Nevels, that is, well, the PA guy said that that's Patty McCormick. That is not Patty McCormick. Oh, okay, I see what's happening. So Patty McCormick is pinch hitting, and Justin Nevels will be pinch running. I do apologize. I was paying attention to the pinch runner. I did not see the pinch hitter. So we'll start that over now. So pinch running at first base will be Justin Nevels. He will come out for Matt Magno, and presumably Joe Keel will take over behind the plate for the rest of the day. And now pinch hitting for Cal Campbell will be Patty McCormick. So he will probably take over at second base for the remainder of the ball game. Phew. Okay. I do apologize for that. So Patty McCormick swings and pops that one up on the infield. As J.D. Urso calling everybody off. And he will make the catch for the first out of the inning. So first pitch swinging right off the bench for McCormick. And it does not work out for him at this juncture. So that'll be the first out of the inning. And now Will Batts will step up and look to continue this inning for the Chinooks, as they certainly would love to get at least one run here and chip into that lead. Because scoring 3 runs off of any closer at any level is a difficult task. And that's what they're staring down the barrel at here, as that pitch is in there for a called strike, if they are not able to chip away here. And the 0-1. Swung on and fouled straight back. And that one is fouled back as well. So Will Batts staying alive. Telling himself to get his hands through the zone there. Not necessarily bad advice. So Justin Nevels leads off first, hoping that Will Batts could put one in the gap and get him moving over there. And that one is flown out to left field, and whoa, as Tyler Wilson kind of had to weave his way sideways to catch that one, but he's able to bring it in, so that'll be the second out of the inning. And now John Mark Mullins, who is 2 for 3 tonight so far, so a decent game for him, will step up and look to keep things rolling for the Chinooks. So for those of you who know the Chinook schedule, they are playing the Legion All-Stars tomorrow. However, there will actually not be a live broadcast for that one, as it is not an ABL game. So we have been told that we will not be broadcasting that live. So there will not be a YouTube broadcast of the game tomorrow. So we will have the day off. So the next broadcast will be Friday. So that will be the next time you will be able to live stream a Chinooks game at home. And that one is ripped into right field. And John Mark Mullins stays hot with his third hit of the ball game. And that'll move Nevels up to second. So once again, the Chinooks have 2 runners on. So can Hayden Keller keep this thing going? And can the Chinooks chip away here? So Aaron and I will be able to just kind of enjoy the All-Star festivities tomorrow. As I do believe that we're getting close at this point to marking the halfway point in our season. At the very least, time-wise. As normally All-Star breaks occur either a little bit before or a little bit after the halfway point. Although this technically isn't really an All-Star break, as it normally has been in years past. However, there is we're playing an All-Star team, so it might as well be the same thing. So, that one is outside. Not a bad pitch there from Floyd. Certainly time has flown here when you're having so much fun as we are. As it feels like just yesterday I was coughing up my kidneys and my lungs and probably a bar stool. I don't know, some other whatever else was coming out of me when I first got here. And now it also is a distant memory. So certainly, again, at the same time, it feels like yesterday, but also is a distant memory. So time certainly has flown by since we've been here. And I remember my first broadcast. I was so unbelievably nervous because, you know, I do like to talk, in case you guys haven't figured that out by now. But I had never been able to I never had to put on a headset and talk for 4 hours or 3 hours or whatever the case may be. So I was afraid, you know, to mess up or say something dumb or anything like that. But now that is also a distant memory. As I mess up all the time and say dumb things all the time, but nothing's happened yet, so I'm just going to keep on doing it as that one is flown out to straightaway left field as Tyler Wilson takes a couple steps to his left, or excuse me, to his right, and makes the catch for out number 3. So the Chinooks again come up empty despite 2 runners on in this inning. And so we will head to the bottom of the 8th inning with the Chinooks still trailing 6-3.
Coming in the pitch for the Chinooks out of Biloxi, Mississippi, and the University of Alabama, Birmingham, number 24, Leo Harris.
right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network here on YouTube. Sorry about that. My mic was acting up a little bit. Hang on a minute. Mic check. Man, I am very quiet right now. I'm not sure what's happening, guys. Just give me a few minutes to figure this out, and I'll get back to you in a minute. You're probably going to hear random noises throughout this whole thing. I do apologize. Check, check, 1, 2, 3. There we go. All right, we got it. Okay, so. Evidently, there's one out in the inning. Quite frankly, I didn't see it. So, there's an out. That's what you need to know. As Leo Harris has taken over on the mound. As that one is popped foul. Perhaps playable for Fullerton, but it will not be, as that will get into the stands for strike number 2. And that one just misses. So, once again, Leo Harris coming in for this bottom of the 8th. And Joe Keel has taken over behind the plate. And that one is ripped into right field for a base hit. And Nick Sorelli, I tell you what, he's having a heck of a ball game right now. As he is 4 for 5 with a grand slam. So, I think that's a pretty good day at the plate, if I do say so myself. And pretty much at that juncture, it doesn't really matter what you throw the guy. He's probably gonna sound like, or it's probably gonna look like a beach ball, as there is a pinch runner at first base, and I do believe, I can't exactly tell the number, but I do believe that it is Gerard Sweeney. That is my guess. I do believe it is Gerard Sweeney, number 28. So Gerard Sweeney taking over for Nick Sorelli. And that one is in there for a called strike. So Leo Harris has got himself into an 0-2 count. And that one is just outside. Not a bad pitch from Harris. And maybe we need to get Leo a new hat, too. It's been quite a couple of days of pitchers' hats flying off their heads. And that one is fouled off. And that one is floated out to shallow right, and that is going to drop. So Sweeney will move over to third, and that one gets by Fullerton. So Sweeney's going to head home. The throw to the plate by Harris will not be in time. And now Tyler Rando will move up to third base on the throwing error, and then just the throw wasn't really an error.
Your right fielder, number 15, Aaron Walters.
So now Aaron Walters will step up to the plate here as the score now balloons to 7-3. which certainly does not help the Chinooks' chances of coming back in this one. And there's also a runner on third, so the Miners might not be done yet with the scoring. And that one is swung on and missed. Good pitch there from Harris. And that one is also in there for a called strike. And I'll tell you what, it certainly shows how well the Miners are swinging the bat. Because Leo Harris has looked dominant in his first few outings. And I mean dominant in his first few outings. And tonight, I mean, just the fact that he's throwing the normal pitches that he's been throwing and really executing well as far as I can see in terms of location. And they're just hitting him. It just shows you how well the Miners have been hitting all night long, as they have 14 hits as well as a good handful of walks as well. So my goodness, what a game that they have had today. Certainly at a certain point you just have no choice but to be impressed with what you're seeing. The Miners, I can certainly see why they're the number one team in the league so far, as they have played outstanding today. That one's outside, so the count moves to 1-2. And it looked like Harris slipped a little bit there. So the count moves to 2-2. And that one's way outside. So Harris losing his control a little bit here. And his hat keeps flying off. That poor hat's going to have to go in the laundry later if it keeps this up. It's going to start looking like Manny Ramirez's helmet. Those who know will know. And the 3-2 is in there and swung and ripped to McGovern, but he could not track it down. So that'll be a base hit for Aaron Walters. So that'll score another run, and the lead, balloons to 8-3. And now Sam Thompson, the catcher, will step up, and he has struggled at the plate tonight, at least by comparison to his teammates, as he's only 1 for 4. And that one's in there for a called strike, and certainly calls like that don't help. Harris certainly would look to get a double play here and get the Chinooks back in the dugout, as that one is fouled straight back. So the count moves to 0-2, as Harris is trying to scratch and claw his way out of this one. And that one is swung on and missed. Good pitch there from Harris. So that'll be the second out of the inning, as Thompson goes down on strikes. And now Tyler Wilson will step up to the plate. Wilson is 0 for 1 in this ball game. He lined out in his first at-bat to right field. So certainly would, for him, you probably want to keep the inning rolling. And that one is tapped down the first base line, foul. And the count moves to 1-1. And the 1-1. Swung on and tapped up the middle to Patty McGovern, who flips on to Mullins at short for the third out of the inning. So the Miners add 2 more to their score, and so we will head to the top of the 9th as the Chinooks have one more chance to come back from now down 5 as we head to the top of the 9th, and the Chinooks trail 8-3. All right, and we are back here live on the Chinooks Radio Network as Pate Fullerton steps up to lead this inning off as the Chinooks have a lot of work to do if they're going to come back in this one. As they currently trail 8-3. And that pitch is inside. So the count moves to 2-0. Despite being out and hit 15-6, the Chinooks certainly have had their chances to add on to their score total tonight, but just have not been able to come through. And similar to the Miners, they had a lot of chances in the first few innings to come through with runners in scoring position and just couldn't get it done till finally in the 6th inning, just an offensive explosion as Nick Sorelli with the big blow with the grand slam in that inning, as the Chinooks decided to leave Zach Sundine in to try and get Sorelli out, and Sorelli made them pay on the first pitch. And oh, what a play by Sam Thompson! From behind the plate, gets out of his crouch and makes a sliding catch on Pate Fullerton's bunt attempt for the first out of the inning. Great play by him. As now John Graham will step up to the plate. He doubled in his last at-bat. Certainly a good sign to see, as he'd been struggling at the dish. But certainly hit the ball hard. His last at-bat, and he hits that one hard. Deep down the left field line, but it's going to hook foul. Certainly had the home run distance, but did not have the home run accuracy. So that'll just be a long strike. And the 0-1 swung on and tapped in between short and third, but Bermudez at short takes it, fires to first, but Graham beats that one out. Even though the ball trickled into the infield, that'll probably go down as a hit, as I believe Graham would have beat that out regardless of where that throw was. But a good effort from Bermudez nonetheless, but Graham gets on base with his second hit of the ball game, so certainly he's had a decent ball game. 2 for 4 with a run scored. Certainly had himself a good ball game. So now Colby Ferris will step up to the plate, and Colby Ferris rips that one deep into left center field, and that's going to get off the wall. So Colby Ferris First pitch swinging, didn't even give me a chance to introduce him. Wasn't even looking up, honestly, as I was trying to figure out what he had done throughout this ball game. Didn't even give me a chance as Colby Ferris rips that one into the gap. So now the Chinooks have a chance to cut into this lead, although they're going to have to do a lot more work than just cut into this lead, as this is their last chance. But they're well on their way here, as now Joe Brazil will step up, and he was robbed of extra bases on a great catch by Nick Sorelli in right field. And quite frankly, Nick Sorelli has just had an outstanding all-around ball game as Bermudez can't handle that one. He recovers and fires on to first, and Brazil beats it out. So an error on David Bermudez. And I will say, though, that I would not give that an unearned run, and the reason is because Graham was going on that pitch anyway. So even if the out was made, that run still would have scored. So in the book, that should not, at least, if you have a proper scorekeeper, go down as an unearned run. It should go down as an earned run anyways. Just a little fun fact there for you guys. So either way, now just one down with 2 on here, and the score is 8-4. As that pitch is outside, as Joe Keel will bat in Matt Magno's spot, as he came in after Magno was pinch ran for in the last inning. As that one is fouled straight back. So Joe Keel looking to drive something here, and always tough, certainly, to get a hold of one and drive something in your first at-bat off the bench. Certainly is a difficult task for anybody. So he'll look to drive one here as the 1-1 pitch is off speed in there for a called strike 2. So Joe Keel's behind now, 1-2. Certainly the last thing the Chinooks want is a strikeout here. They at the very least want him to put the ball in play. And the 1-2. Swung on and tapped in the 5-6 hole for a base hit. So Joe Keel keeps the inning alive, and the Chinooks have things rolling here, and they have given themselves a chance. And now the tying run will come to the plate in Patty McCormick, who amazingly, folks, is leading the Chinooks in batting average. However, is nowhere near the top in on-base percentage, and that is actually because Patty McCormick has not drawn a walk this season so far. It's been a very strange season for him, as he is tops on the Chinooks in batting average, but has the exact same batting average as his on-base percentage, as he has not drawn a walk all season. Although, granted, I will say, it may not be exactly the same as... I can't exactly see who that is. Yeah, that's still Patty. Okay. Just making sure. For some reason, I thought that was a different person, but it's not. As he may well have been hit by pitches early on in the year that I just do not remember. So perhaps his on-base percentage is a little bit bigger, because I cannot remember if he's been hit by a pitch or not. And if he has, it'll be bigger. If he hasn't, then it'll be the same. So you never know. But either way, has not drawn a walk all season. So that's just an interesting tidbit stat there for you. So the count is 0-1 to McCormick. And that pitch is upstairs. And certainly you know he'd love to draw his first walk of the season right now, as that will keep the line moving and walk in a run. So certainly we'll see how this at-bat plays out, as the 1-1 pitch is in there for a called strike 2. So the count moves to 1-2, as Patty McCormick now in danger of an unproductive at-bat here. But still plenty of time to battle, get back in it, and the 1-2. Swung on and fouled straight back. Good swing from McCormick, and he just barely missed that. He quite literally fouled that straight backwards, pretty much at the height that the pitch was thrown, if not maybe like a 6 to 8 inches higher. So just barely missed that one. And so the next one, too, is check swing. And they say he went. So Patty McCormick goes down on strikes for the second out of the inning. And now Will Batts representing the last chance for the Chinooks. But did single in his first at-bat, but since then has struggled as he is only 1 for 5 in this ball game. So certainly, you know, he'd love to get a hold of one here, put one in the gap, get these runners moving. And that pitch is downstairs for ball 1. And I don't think that it can be overstated to say that it has been an amazing job from the Miners bullpen today, as before this inning they had gone 5 scoreless. So certainly a great job from them. As they were able to keep their team in the ball game, and plenty of time for them to come back in this one. But the Chinooks now threatening the comeback of their own, as that one is swung on and hit down the left field line, but that's going to get out of play. So Will Batts swinging hard on 2-0, could not get his bat on it, at least well enough to hit it fair and hit it hard. So now count is 2-1, so we'll see what Floyd goes with here. Try and get Will Batts out, because certainly you don't want it to go 3-1, as you'll be in danger of a walk, and that one's tapped out to short. Going to be a tough play for Bermudez, but he makes it. And that will be the last out of the game, and so the Chinooks go down once again here as the Miners come roaring back from down 3-0, and they defeat the Chinooks 8-4 here at Herman Brothers Stadium in Palmer, Alaska. So the Chinooks continue to struggle here, as quite frankly, they have simply just not pitched as well as they would have liked over the last few ball games. But nonetheless, the Chinooks certainly put up a lot of fight in that one, so you certainly love to see that out of the guys, as they never gave up all the way until the very end, which is all you could really ask for. So the Miners continue their winning ways as they continue to expand their lead in first place, as they move to 13-6 on the season, and the Chinooks now drop to 10-9, so just hovering above 500 baseball now. And the Chinooks will have an opportunity to get their minds off things a little bit and have a little fun tomorrow, because we're playing the Legion All-Stars tomorrow. And once again, I mentioned earlier, we will not be having a broadcast for that one. So Aaron and I will be in the dugout. We'll be having fun, hanging out with the guys. So we will not be broadcasting that game. So the next time the Chinooks will play after tomorrow will be Friday at 7 o'clock. I cannot remember off the top of my head who we are playing, but we will be playing at 7 o'clock. That's all you need to know. And then when you turn on the live stream, you'll see who we're playing, I guess. I do apologize that I cannot remember off the top of my head. But, again, thank you to Coach Ted McGovern for coming in and interviewing today. Thank you so much to Keara Chaperon for coming in here and also being interviewed. Just thank you so much to them. I know that they're busy and they have a lot of responsibilities on game day, so I do appreciate them coming in here and being able to talk to them, ask great questions, get great answers. So certainly a great time talking to them. So from all of us here to all of you at home, I am Tyler Lopes. I've been joined today by my partner, Aaron Davis. So I'd like to thank you all for watching tonight, and we will see you very, very soon.